everyone, and welcome to our next episode of Pink Hibiscus Live. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a long while now, and it was just about finding the right guest. So tonight, we are going to be talking about everything to do with recycling, sustainability, and all that sort of interesting stuff that is going to help save our environment. And our guest tonight is this amazing woman named Sharolt, who has just joined. I'm going to put her on now. And she is doing some amazing things with everything to do with organic waste. So here she is. Hello.
Hi, Nat.
How are you?
Good. How's everyone? Thanks so much for having me tonight. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
thank you so much for being a part of it. I think that when I was putting the run sheet together, I thought, I have no idea how we're going to get through all of this in an hour.
I
We
know
might need to do a part two.
exactly what I was thinking.
Just
Well, we'll see how we go.
adjust this. I know, exactly. There's nothing wrong with doing a part two. We'll get through as much as we can and provide as much information as we can. But to start
That's
with,
it.
Cheryl, can you please tell everyone a little bit about yourself and the amazing initiative that you're involved in?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sharolt Kicsi. A lot of people just call me Charlotte. I'm a civil environmental engineer. I'm currently working as a project management officer. And I'm part of the coolest startup you'll ever hear about. We're called Clear Connections. And we're still in our early stages of development, but we're very passionate and very dedicated. And essentially what we're just trying to do is fully realize the benefits of food waste recycling. So we're focusing on providing businesses and households feedback on their waste management efforts, and in order to kind of address the problem of contamination in recycled food waste. So what happens is that people have great intentions, but along the line something is broken, and if inorganics get into the food waste stream that's been collected, the whole bunch just goes to landfill anyway, which we'll talk about is really bad. Yeah, so what we're trying to do is kind of close the loop through connecting people's actions to their impacts by using artificial intelligence and real-time live data capture. So yeah, that's pretty
Wow.
much our idea.
Just a small little project that you're working on then.
Yeah, just like on the side, it's our side hustle.
Yeah, a little side hustle. Some
Yeah.
people make stuff and go to the markets. You create this
Oh, not to
amazing
say that's
initiative
not
that's gonna,
amazing. That's also
no, that
amazing.
is amazing. But seriously, I heard about what you were doing through your brother, who is a phenomenal massage therapist and physio.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that out of my treatment. I wasn't expecting to walk away going, could I have your sister's details? Could we get in contact? I need to talk to her about recycling and food waste.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Sometimes life just has a plan. I'm really glad we got it right.
Exactly. So you're a co-founder. How did you meet your other co-founders, and how did you start on this journey?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. Like, obviously, our idea has evolved and changed a lot from the beginning, but I guess it's the product of like an organic chain of events, if you like. So I attended a science week a while back and started chatting to a professor about how we could optimize the waste to energy supply chain in Australia. And then after that night, I just had a completely spontaneous chat with my colleague Jaden, literally at the pub after work, um, who
The
was
best chats
actually
happen at the
looking.
pub.
Yeah, no, definitely, I can living testimony. But yeah, so he was actually looking for an idea for his master thesis. So we started, I was very passionate about it, and then we started kind of bouncing off ideas off each other. Started doing more research, and then he got his best mate Matt involved, who's basically a whiz at anything to do with electronics, hardware, kind of tech side. And yeah, that was our team was formed. We started researching, and then we realized we could make something out of this idea. Like, this is the right time. Now is the right time to turn this into a business. So yeah, after all that research, we just decided to go for it. And here we are.
Wow. So where are you at now? You're mentioning that you're about to launch. Is that right?
Not quite. So we launched our website, but we're still in the early stages. So still up to kind of customer validation.
Mm-hmm.
We do think it's feasible. So we've done all that research and we've done some prototyping. We're developing the software. So with artificial intelligence. But yeah, we're not quite ready to have it. We don't have a product yet to kind of go out to market and sell tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we have a strategy and definitely a strong vision of where we're going. So yeah, we're just making it all happen.
Awesome. So what is the website if people do want to check that out now that that's launched?
Yeah, so pretty easy. It's clearconnections.com.au, just as it sounds.
Yeah.
And definitely, it's still developing because I say that because at this stage, it's still like an idea. We have a prototype, but we haven't actually built anything that
Yeah.
we can do counsel with or our customers, you know. So as we kind of go through that journey, we'll definitely update the website and kind of provide more information. Yeah.
Awesome. And on the food waste stats, I think I told you earlier this week, since I knew we were going to have this discussion, I just went down the rabbit hole with all things food waste and recycling. And my goodness, I was blown away. And I really wanted to share some stats with everyone because if you're like me, and I just never considered what I was putting in the bin when it came to food. I was always interested in finding out about recycling and plastics and paper and all of that sort of stuff. That was something that I was aware of, and you know, council collection and everything makes that quite easy for you. But I had no idea that when you put food in the bin and it goes to landfill, and this stat is staggering. So Australian households discard 2.5 million tonnes of edible food each year, which equates to about 300 kilos per person. Crazy. Yeah. And then when it goes to landfill, I just assumed that it would kind of break down like it would in a compost bin and didn't think anything of it. But what happens is that when food waste ends up in landfill, it creates a methane gas. And when that's not captured, which doesn't happen in all landfills that our waste goes to, it's 21 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of people don't know
amazing.
I think so. Methane's really bad because it doesn't stay in the atmosphere as long as carbon dioxide, but it's a lot more efficient at like trapping the heat. So yeah, it just contributes to climate change, even though it's in the atmosphere for like only a decade or something. Yeah, I guess the positive with that, it's if we do address it and use it to our advantage, then we can actually make a huge impact in reducing the temperature rise of the planet. And yeah, so in order to, instead of just letting it go, you know, we really should be seeing it as a resource, because once you capture it, you can burn it and make heat and electricity and use it for lighting and use it to fuel cars, or you know, so there's a lot of potential there. We just actually have to realize it and act on it. Yeah.
So Jaden's popped on, who's your co-founder, I'm assuming, and said turn that food into energy. Yes, I heartily agree, Jaden.
Yeah, so
So
that's what we're all about. Very
it's
passionate.
it's great, and I think that it does come down to education as well,
Oh,
because
definitely.
I know so many people would have no idea of the effects. And I was a little bit, I don't know if you can speak to this, because in the research that I did, I was a little bit confused. I found lots of stats about America and not
Mm.
as many about Australia. Um, are the landfills in Australia, are any of them capturing this methane gas to turn into energy?
Yeah, so quite a few of them actually. I think it's like 130 are now capturing methane and turning it into electricity. But
Mm,
yeah, we still have a long way to go. And compared to America and Europe. And I think what what is even better than that, like a more efficient and more controlled way of capturing methane, is what a lot of sewage treatment plants and these waste to energy facilities are doing, which is through the methane generated through anaerobic digestion. So
hmm
what happens there is these little micro bugs break down sewage or the food waste, and then
hmm
you get biogas, and you also get like a very nutrient-rich kind of sludge, which you can use as a biofertilizer. So that's just a very a more safe, controlled way of um, capturing the potential of methane. Because I did a little bit of research too, and I found that landfills only actually utilize 20 to 30% of the potential methane in waste. Whereas
Wow.
if you do it through anaerobic digestion, you get 60 to 80% of the methane potential of waste used for electricity generation. So yeah, it is happening, but there's better ways of doing it. So yeah, not a fan of landfills.
Yeah, no, no. And do you, as part of your role with what you're working on, do you need to barrack to government or local council? Have you approached local councils about your idea yet? How does
So
that
that,
side work?
yeah, that's our next step. So we're at that stage now, where we're going to be going out and talking to councils and kind of gauging how they see the problem and seeing how we can align with their strategy,
Hmm
because we're looking to partner with them. So to really make this have a great impact, we think that that's the best way to do it. So not
Yeah.
yet, but we have had an interview with Sydney Water, and they've definitely expressed interest. They said to us, look, if you
That's
can
great.
guarantee that the food waste that we get is completely free of contaminants, then yeah,
Hmm
sign us up. We need your product. We want it. It's
Wow.
that risk around contamination though that's stopping a lot of utilities or facilities, because it is a pain point. But at the moment, we just need to kind of prove that through customer validation. So that's what we're up
Yeah.
to.
And I think the other thing that's really confusing for both food waste and general recycling is that every council, and this is something else I didn't know and only found out in the last year, every council has different rules.
That's right.
So, there are some councils that you can put your food waste in the green bin that you would normally put your gardening,
Yep.
grass and all that sort of stuff in. And there are some councils that you can't do that. And if you change councils and you move and you think you can
Different.
still put your food waste in the bin,
Yeah,
then you're
exactly.
stuffed.
Yeah.
So it
Definitely
just
got to
makes it
check
so
your
much.
council website. Yes.
Yeah. And that was a mine of information as well. I just from the council website. So I'm in Parramatta Council.
Okay.
I ended up through to the Visi recycling website, and then that sent me to another website, and hence me going down the rabbit hole. But something I wanted to share with everyone, which I've shared quite a bit in stories. I kind of talk about it a lot, but I'm going to keep talking about it because I think it's a brilliant app.
Yeah.
I was always someone who wanted to compost, but I just, saying I don't have the time is an awful thing to say, but I don't have the inclination. I
Mm.
don't, I don't, I don't want to make sure all the levels are correct, and all of that was just too much for me. But I wanted to compost. And there's a brilliant app called Share Waste. And Share Waste enables you, if you have a compost bin or if you want to compost, to pop your details on there and to connect with people in your neighborhood that either will accept your waste because they have compost bins or worm farms, or if you have a compost bin, you can find people who want to give you their waste. So I've been, I bought a gorgeous little on the, countertop compost
Oh,
caddy.
great.
And I got some home compostable bags. That's something else we'll go into shortly. Home compostable bags, and line it with that. And I deliver a few bags every week to a lady down the road who is so grateful to have our waste, which seems really odd.
I guess if she's into it, go on to the
I
effort.
know.
The more
I
for the
know.
better.
It does feel really weird kind of pulling up to her house and just delivering a bag of food waste. But she's loving it. I get thank you messages every time.
Yeah, exactly. The more people get around that, the better. So that's actually a really good point, Nat. If your council's not doing, the food scrap trial, or if you don't really feel like doing composting at home because it's just, you have your apprehensions about it, then yeah, just go on Share Waste and see who else is doing it in your neighborhood. Definitely. That's awesome that you raised that.
It's great for people in apartments as well, there really is no reason why everyone can't do this. It's so easy. Oh, Selena's just popped on. A very dear friend of mine. She said that she pops her compost waste in the freezer so it doesn't smell, and then puts it in a green bin or to her mum's chooks. Hard in an apartment. Yeah. Well, Sel, what you can do is jump onto the Share Waste app, because there's probably people around you that have compost bins who are on there. I had about 5 people within, like, literally the streets around me. And then you can just take it there if you can't get to your mum's. It saves popping it in the freezer. So that might be of help to you as well. It is really hard in apartments, but this is a great solution.
Mine doesn't smell. So good point you raised about when obviously in summer they can be smellier.
Yeah.
But I feel it depends on how frequently you fill up your bags and change the bags. But ours is quite fine.
Yeah, ours is fine as well. And what I found made a difference was, so we've got a caddy from Seed and Sprout, and in the lid, there's a charcoal filter that kind of eliminates the odor, and you can just rinse it out, and that's fine. But the other thing that helps is we've got a coffee machine, and so Nick puts his coffee grounds in it, and so it just smells like coffee when we open it. And actually it makes such a difference. And I'm really lucky because my lotion bases for my skincare come in, it's the same size as my compost bin, these like buckets. And so when I finish with that, I've got a couple of those in the garage, and then I collect those. They're all sealed, and collect those and take the buckets to this lady's place, which has made it much easier for me as well. So it's quite
I'm really glad you're doing that.
Oh, thanks. Got the tick of approval. Yay. And another really great app that's not necessarily for food waste, it's called Olio. So it's OLIO. And if you're anything like me, and say you're having a party and you've bought way too many crackers, which I always do, and you don't finish them, and you're like, I'm not going to eat all these crackers. You can actually go on, it's probably a terrible example, but anyway, you can go on to this app and you just pop in what you have. So it could be bread or whatever. It could be that your vegetables are about to expire, and you're not going to use them, or you're going away and you want to clear out your fridge. Pop whatever you have onto this app, and people around you can go, yeah, actually I love those veggies. I'm going to cook up a soup tonight, and just come around and pick them up. It's free. Obviously you don't sell it. but they've extended it for other things. So if there's anything around the house that you don't need, kind of like a gum tree, but it's more food related and you can
What's
pop
the
on
again?
different things. It's Olio, Olio. So
Perfect. I'll check
you'll
it.
find random things like, I saw the other day a lady's roommate moved out and they were gluten free and they left all their gluten free food. And she goes, well, I'm not going to eat it. Does anyone want it? And then
Mm.
you can just send them a message and go, yeah, I'll pop around and get it. I'm like, it's so
Amazing.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even
Because
know about that.
yeah, I don't even know how I stumbled upon it, and I haven't used it yet. I haven't had food to give away, but when I do, I will be because I just think it's a great option because
Oh,
otherwise,
definitely.
yes, you could,
Just chucking
yeah,
it out. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. It always used to happen to us with veggies. We'd have the best of intentions and buy all these fruit and veg and then go, there's no way we're gonna eat this.
Eat it all. Yeah.
So you know.
I think a lot of households, yeah, find themselves in that situation.
Yeah, and especially now with the pandemic that we find ourselves in, apart from connecting yourself to your neighbors through this, it's a really lovely
Mhm.
way to build community. But paying it forward with people that may not be able to buy the stuff that you have and would be so grateful for it, I
Yeah,
think is just a lovely energy to put out there.
definitely.
Do you
I
have
agree.
any other advice about how to manage your food waste effectively at all?
Yeah, so just some of the things we do at home is always check your fridge and pantry just to like see what you already have so you don't kind of overbuy and then you're like, oh shit, I already had that and it
Yeah.
expires. You chuck it out. And always, I do this as well, have a meal plan. So on whenever you before you do your shop, just sit down, kind of plan your week, kind of plan out what you're gonna cook, write down the ingredients, have a shopping list, and so when you go to the grocery store, that's the only things you buy. You don't kind of overbuy. A funny one I read was like, don't go to the store when you're hungry
When you're
because
hungry.
prone to overbuying. Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that. And yeah, just storage, all about like storing the food properly so it doesn't spoil. There's actually really good information on Love Food Hate Waste program that's run by the New South Wales government. So yeah,
Okay,
I
what was
encourage
that? Love food, hate
Love Food
waste.
Hate Waste. Yep. So
Ah,
it's like a free education
I'm gonna
platform.
jot
They've
that
got,
down.
yeah, they've got really good tips on how you can just reduce your food waste. And there's another thing I came across. I was researching councils, and Cumberland Council's doing like they actually made a cookbook. So they're encouraging everyone to use their leftovers and kind of turn it into a new meal in creative ways. And on the app, you can it's what you said. Like it's encouraging that community kind of connection because everyone can just share recipes that they've come up with. So yeah,
Ah,
that aspect of like don't chuck out your leftovers, turn it into a new meal. I think
yeah.
a great idea.
I think it comes down to being organized too, though.
Yeah,
I think,
really.
a lot of it and so many people just get so busy and look for a quick fix.
Mm,
But with just a tiny bit of planning, it can really help.
it's a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Well, let's segue into recycling that's not food waste related. And that's another minefield with
Def-
so much information. Absolutely, so much information. Oh, there you go. Sel's just said she does daily little shops instead of big shops. Yeah, that's a good idea, and it's helpful if you are near a supermarket to do that as well. So you're literally buying what you need and then using it rather than stocking up
mm,
the pantry. That's a great idea too, Sel. Thank you. Um, so recycling. There are so many things out there that have confused me about recycling, and I kind of wanted to bust some myths that I've discovered tonight. Um, First up is going back to the whole each council has different recycling guidelines. So I
mm,
really do encourage people to go to their local council website and find out exactly how they want you to recycle because
yeah.
otherwise you are contaminating that entire bin where you think you're doing the right thing. If
Yeah.
you're not, then they can't do anything with what you've recycled inverted commas. So, for example, with Parramatta Council, which was different to another council that I saw, and I can't remember the name of the other council, but anyway, so Parramatta Council asks you to keep lids on plastic bottles. So another great program out there is the bottle recycling that you'll find outside Woolies and that sort of thing, where you can get 10 cents back. So we actually save any bottles that we have. My mum does that. So if we have bags of bottles, we just give them to her. But there are only certain sizes. So they're the soft drink size or the water bottle sizes, wine bottles, beer cans, all of that sort of thing. But so keep your lids on your plastic bottles if you put them in the recycling, which goes against another council that says take your lids off. So double check on that. The drink bottle should be dry is another thing. So empty and dry. They don't require rinsing, but they need to be dry. And if you're keeping your lids on your bottles, then it's probably not going to be dry. Kind of drying them out and then putting the lids on and then putting them in the recycling just to make it more difficult. I know. Well, another thing was, so pizza boxes was a big thing. So I was told if you can't recycle pizza boxes because they're soiled with, like, they'll have oil and grease and whatever left over on them. So you can't recycle them. Parramatta Council can. So check your council.
Some councils say you can't. And I think honestly to the facility that they have contracts with to take the waste to. So they have very stringent kind of requirements, and I guess that makes sense. That's why the depending on which council area you live in, there's different rules. But very, if you have to check where you live and what your council's saying.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing with boxes, I was always, up until this week when I found out I didn't have to do this, I was very stringent with taking every little bit of tape off a box before putting it into the recycling. And you don't need to do that anymore. If a box is 100% covered with plastic, you need to take it off, like with tape. However, if it's your usual kind of sealing the box thing and you can't get it all off, it's fine, because they reduce it to a pulp, I believe, and then they can skim off the tape that's there. So that saves time. That saves time that I can use drying up my bottles before I know, right? Soft plastic is not recyclable in your recycling bin. However, there is the brilliant Recyclable program that you can look up. We've got it at our Coles, where the rule is, according to the Recyclable website, is that if you can scrunch it, you can put it in the Recyclable program. So pasta packets, they actually accept, this was interesting, I didn't know this, they accept, I've got so many notes on this, Woolworths and Coles home brand and Glad cling wrap can be recycled at Recyclable, but other brands can't be.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Sorry, TAM5 has come up saying that there are initiatives to recycle plastic lids and bread tags. Yes, I'm getting to that too. Terracycle has got some great initiatives on all sorts of things that you can recycle. So we're going to chat about that soon. Thanks, Tam. There's so much stuff that you can recycle that you may not actually think that you can. But Recycle is so great. And you can look up on the Recycle website where your local collection point we'll go on to Terracycle. Have you heard of Terracycle?
Not until you mentioned it, honestly.
Okay, I'm obsessed with Terracycle. I just heard a podcast with Irene from Nourished Life, where she interviewed, and maybe the CEO of Terracycle in Australia. It was someone from Terracycle who really just opened my eyes to the fact that every single item in this world can be recycled. What it comes down to is money, and
Mm.
whether or not companies are willing to back the recycling programs. So if you head to terracycle.com, so it's TERRA cycle, CYCLE.com, you will find a plethora of programs. And then you can look up your postcode and see what is happening around your area. So when I looked up in my area, I'm now saving all dental products. So toothbrushes, floss. I'm a bit icky about that, actually. I haven't been doing that. But I'm going to buy some vegan floss, some like plant-based floss that I think might just help.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be storing my floss and giving it to someone.
Yeah.
You know, Pixters, toothpaste tubes, all of that sort of stuff. I've got about 10 dentists within not even a 5-minute drive that will accept them and recycle them through Terracycle. Amazing. Contact lenses. I'm going to be donating my contact lenses, recycling them. There were 3 optometrists that are part of the program.
Yeah, I need to jump on and find out.
So random. I mean, everything. And you'll find that there are different brands as well. So there are different, so beauty brands, different like big brands have gotten on board, and their particular packaging can be sent in. You can invest in a bin. If there's something, for example, I was thinking about doing this with the surgical gloves that I use when making my skincare. I can buy a cardboard bin from Terracycle and put all my gloves in there, and then can't remember it. I mean, it's a bit pricey. I think I'm looking at about a couple of $100, but it'll take me years to fill it. And then they collect it when it's full, and they'll recycle it. Anything you want to, you can. So head to that website, and all of these, I did mean to get a blog up with all of this information prior to the live, and I ran out of time. But if you just subscribe to my newsletter, if you click the link in bio on the Pink Hibiscus Instagram page and go subscribe to newsletter, I'm going to be adding it to that too, so I can send everything out to you.
Perfect.
And then another thing, have you heard of man rags?
No. This is great.
Another one.
Man-rags.
So manrags.com, no, manrags.com.au, they produce really funky socks and all this sort of stuff, but they also collect material for recycling. And when you send it into them, you get like a $25 voucher to spend on their site. So they encourage you to fill kind of a Marley Spoon box or a HelloFresh box size with material. And they've got a guideline as to what clothes, just old clothes.
Right.
Old clothes. I think they take towels, sheets, all of that sort of stuff. Okay, they sort through them manually. If they can be donated, they'll be donated to a charity. If they can't be donated, they will. They'll be recycled. So here, Maddie English. You're going to send them your old clothes. It's a great idea. So I've got a box happening now waiting to fill it. And I think you pay $25, but then you get a $25 voucher the first time you use them. But it's not that much money to know that it's either going to people who need it, and I think they partner with Good 360, the charity, or being recycled. I mean, to me, that's money worth spending.
Definitely. Because there's kind of like clothing shop and vintage clothing shops now that you can swap your clothes with, like you give your old clothes and they give you store credit or that kind of a arrangement. But yeah, this one's
great.
Because if they don't always take your clothes, like it has to be maybe a specific condition or brand or whatever. So yeah, this is a great alternative.
Yeah, H&M does it as well, actually. H&M, you take a bag, and then I think they give you a $5 voucher or something like that.
But at least it's not, it's getting recycled, going to good use. Yeah,
exactly. The Real Emerald has said so many ways we can individually make better decisions for the planet. Yes, definitely. And like I said before, I think it all comes down to educating people and just spreading the word. When you find out something that,
Share it with
you know,
people.
yeah, share
Yeah,
it. Like, bring it up in
it's so
conversation.
powerful.
Start talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
It's
100%
it's
agree.
such an easy thing to do. Now, the next thing, and this is a contentious topic actually, because I had someone message me today. I'm going to chat to you a little bit later about my refill program. And I had someone message me earlier saying, rather than people sending me their packaging back, can't I just send out my product in biodegradable packages that
Let's.
people could
Oh.
then just squeeze in, right?
Mhm.
Um, and my response was, well, I can't physically because I hand make everything, so I can't do that. But also, biodegradable is apparently not good.
No.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
I know.
Biodegradable. How good does that sound?
You
It's like
can't scream.
greenwashing at its best, apparently.
Yeah.
Can you
Um,
speak to that at all?
yeah, funny you raise that. Because yeah, everyone hears these words and they just kind of become buzzwords after a while. It's so overwhelming, and you're like, okay, I don't really know how to dispose of stuff properly and how to recycle it properly. Yeah, so I think it's worth mentioning that like what the difference is. So biodegradable plastic bags are plant-based, so they're made out of like corn or wheat rather than petroleum, like traditional plastic bags are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're plant-based, which means like microbes and living organisms can break them down. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the conditions required for that to happen are quite specific. So
Mm.
you need like an optimum high temperature, and it has to be exposed to UV light. Yeah, so if they're not in the right kind of environment to be broken down, then it's no use. And then what really does happen after a while, they do break down, but they become like tiny little microplastics. So they don't
Mm.
actually completely disappear or become like organic compounds, if you like.
Yeah.
And that's similar with degradable plastics. So the why they're different is because degradable plastic is not made out of like plants, but they weave like chemicals into it, so it breaks down quicker than your regular plastic. But again, what happens is it just becomes like a micro-sized plastic as opposed to a plastic bag-sized plastic, which is especially harmful for like our marine life because
Mm.
think those little particles get into the ocean, it just disrupts everything because the fish think it's food and eat it, and that's just disaster.
Yeah.
You think you're doing good by having biodegradable and degradable plastic bags, but I'd recommend just have your just avoid plastic. Just have your like cotton canvas bag that you always use, and yeah, definitely just
Yeah.
stay because you
And
don't.
also look into compostable, but even that's a minefield. So you need to make sure when you're looking at compostable bags and BioBag is a great brand. It's biobag.com.au, I think, but you can also
Okay.
purchase them at Nourished Life. And Seed and Sprout do compostable bags as well. They're home compostable. That's what you need to look out for,
Yeah.
because if you're purchasing just a compostable bag and you're using it in your home compost system, the likelihood is that it won't break down. So
Yeah. Just
keeping an eye out on that.
yeah, because same with compostable bags, you got to have the right conditions. If you don't, it's just not going to happen. So I think with compostable bags, you have to take them to like a specific facility that,
Yeah,
yeah, that can process them and break them down and have the right equipment. But part of the problem is that there's not a lot in Australia to this date. So that's, yeah, it's making it a lot more difficult because then you go,
yeah.
okay, what do I do with it? I chuck it in the red lid bin, or yeah, you put it in your compost, but it just takes like years to break down, or
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
Or doesn't break down at all.
yeah,
Well, it's
exactly.
actually it's biobagworld.com.au.
Is that where you?
And they've got, it's a they're certified. So it's 100% compostable certified. There's another great podcast with Irene from Nourished Life with the CEO of BioBag. And I went onto their website because I'm about to redo all our garbage bags at home with compostable bags. The issue with compostable, the ones that I get from Seed and Sprout, they kind of disintegrate in my kitchen caddy, which is problematic, but at least I can see they're working. But apparently the bio bags are as strong and as tough as a regular garbage bag. It's 25 years experience of, testing, but it's home compostable, and they've got all different sizes. They've got like your dog waste bags as well. They've got these great bags that you can use if you do want to put your produce in a bag at the shops. You can take them with you if that. But they're also working with farmers directly to create home compostable plastics. So when you get a cucumber, that's a continental cucumber is always wrapped in plastic, or the bunches of lemons or whatever. They're actually going direct to farmer to offer them a solution, because wrapping them in plastic, everyone's like, oh, but why? It's a waste. It actually does keep the fruit and vegetables fresher for longer, and that's why they do it. But this actually gives them a solution through these biobag plastics to not be harming the environment, but to keep that freshness, which I think is important to so many people as well, and goes back to the food waste. The worst thing is when you buy a cucumber and it's off the next day, it's so much info. Okay, so it's my massive list. We're getting through it. This is great. So I might just, I wanted to kind of talk everyone through what Pink Hibiscus does in relation to our commitment to the environment.
Yes, please.
It's a work in progress. Like I was explaining to you on the phone a couple of weeks ago, when I relaunched the brand, I really wanted to package my product in ocean waste plastic or post-consumer recycled plastic. But unfortunately, because I'm small batch and handmade, unless I'm buying 50,000 units, that just was not going to be a possibility. So it was something, it's so frustrating, and I'm hoping that it changes sooner rather than later. That's my ultimate goal, is to be able to deliver that. But what I decided to do was to maintain some of my products in PET plastic, but move most of them across to clear glass. So what I thought I would start is a refill program, because a few people have asked me whether or not they can send their products back to me and I can refill them. So logistically, I thought, okay, how can I do that? And I've worked it out. So officially today, I've launched my refill program. I was like, I'm going to do this on the day that I speak to you.
I love it.
So it's pretty straightforward. It's actually, and everything is detailed. If you head to the website and then click on the Sustainability and Social Responsibility tab, you'll see the refill program there, and it's got step-by-step guidelines. But all you need to do is send me, I've got the address on the website, send me your old packaging with your name and email address. I will then email you a $10 discount code. You can go on and order the product that you've just sent to me. And then once that order has gone through, I will sanitize and refill your packaging and courier it back to you. So that's really, it's super easy. When I think about it, I don't know why it took me so long to do. I think it's just more, I'm just not sure whether people are going to want to do it.
I would definitely do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad. I've got my first refill program person.
Yeah, sign me up. That's great. I've heard of there's a couple of skincare businesses who are doing that, and I think it must mean it's working well. So
yeah, I hope so. I think it's hard because I don't have a store. I think it's if I had stores everywhere and people could just pop into their local pink hibiscus and, you know, give it in, it'd be easier. I think I'm not sure if it's going to be a barrier to send it in, but people can just keep the packaging that I send them. So the box with the home compostable beads and all of that sort of stuff, so that they can just reuse that. It's all going to be protected so the glass won't break, and send it back. So I'm trying to keep it as easy as possible, but we'll see. The offer's there if people want it, or they can just pop by and I can do it in person for them.
Just ring the doorbell. That's the best way.
Yeah, we can have a little skincare making session together.
Oh, I love that.
So
great,
hopefully that works. Another thing that we do, I've got a partnership with One Tree Planted. So for every order that is placed on the website, we plant a tree where it's needed most in Australia. And they're doing some amazing work with bushfire regeneration. They've committed to plant 1 million trees in Australia, which is brilliant. So
is there like a deadline, or it's just
probably there's probably a deadline. I just haven't actually looked it up. I just saw the 1 million and went, oh, I like that. Yeah, amazing. They also do community programs. Once COVID is past us, I do want to kind of get the pink hibiscus community involved and actually head out and plant the trees that we're buying, which I just think would be so special.
Yeah, because then you're really, you know, like, it's amazing to hear, but when you're, you know, online shopping and you read it, you're like, yay, and then you kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
But I think if you made it into like an experience, as you said, like a community kind of gathering, that would just really, it'll become a memory. So
yeah,
you feel like you're doing something, you're actually contributing.
I know.
I
love the idea. I hope that they are able to start them up again soon, because I think it would be truly special. Another thing I want to do is work with the local councils, both on the northern beaches and also looking at Central Coast Council, to do beach cleanup days. So that's something I really want to do. I've got some friends who work at Central Coast Council, and it was just, you know, COVID. You can't, you've got to be so careful now, and they're just not, they're not implementing these programs anymore. But, you know, hopefully soon. I do encourage anyone who ever goes for a walk on the beach or just goes to the beach, just take a bag with you and take some gloves so you're being safe, and just collect what you see and be mindful and be safe about it, obviously. But if everyone just did that on their regular walks, or while they're at the beach or they're at the park or whatever, I just think it would make such a huge difference. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
But I know that, you know, a lot of people are scared, but take gloves. That's, you know, that's cool. Take gloves and a compostable bag.
That's it.
Yes, I know. And disposable gloves, but then you can just save them, and then you can send them to the partner with Terracycle and recycle your surgical gloves. The loop is closed.
That's it. That's what we're aiming for.
Exactly. We also use Sendle as our courier service. So they're a B Corp and carbon neutral delivery service. And they've actually just come out in Sydney, and I think that they're expanding this across their network with electric, here you go, it's solar powered electric vehicles to actually do their deliveries in as well. How cool is that?
Finally.
I love it.
I feel like that should have been a thing a while ago. That's awesome.
I know. So yeah, they've just released in Sydney, but they said that they're going to expand it across their network. And then the thing I like about working with Sendle as well is that we get to choose. So we get to choose where our the impact is by choosing the project that the carbon emissions kind of are offsetted against each year. So you're very involved, which I quite like too.
Can you use that for delivery of all your orders?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So globally, it's look, and sending overseas with with Sendle, it does take longer than using Australia Post. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit of a mission with sending overseas. However, I just, it sits well with me, and
Yeah,
everyone's been receiving everything safely. And,
it
I just
works.
think it's carbon neutral. If it takes
Yeah,
an extra
it's
5 days to
worth it.
get to you, is
Yeah,
that really
no,
so bad?
I completely agree. That's great.
Yeah. And the other thing we do is all of our suppliers are Australian businesses. So whilst some of our oils, our crystals, and all of that those sorts of ingredients are sourced from overseas,
Yeah.
the actual businesses that we purchase from are Australian. So not only wanting to keep money within Australia, but also just from the whole carbon footprint
Hmm.
side of things as well. So yes, and then you and I are members of the Pink Hibiscus group on
Woo!
1 million
1 million
women.
women.
I'm
Yeah.
also going to put this on the website. How cool is that? 1 million
Really
women, and I really want to get its founder on here. I'm going to email her this week. So we are pledging to reduce our carbon footprint, and we would both like to invite everyone else to pledge as well. And once again, sign up to the newsletter. It's in my link in bio. I'm going to put all the details there. But did you enjoy the process of working out how you were going to reduce your carbon footprint?
Yeah, it's super fun because it helps you track it, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna get my friends into it. I think it's a great platform, and they also have heaps of resources, like information that you can just read. So yeah, thanks for letting me know about that.
No, that's
'Cause
okay. It was
I signed up
once
this
again something
week.
I stumbled upon,
Yeah,
like in my digging for research for this live.
amazing all the stuff you can discover. Yeah.
I know, right? The internet's an amazing, amazing resource. But 1 million women, this pledge, it's super simple. It's free to sign up. I just created a group because I thought it would be fun to track everyone's progress. But you can commit to doing all different sorts of things, from turning off your electrical equipment that's on standby, from taking 4-minute showers, all sorts of all manners of things you wouldn't even think of or would even think would take much electricity at all. And it
Mm.
then measures what your impact will be, and it keeps you accountable. So it will check in with you. You can update it. It'll give you, there's pages of tips. And I think
How to
that the
reduce
aim, oh, sorry.
of how to reduce your carbon footprint and
Yeah. And I
be
think
a
it's at 1
yeah.
ton, they're aiming for every person to reduce.
Yep.
I'm not
Okay.
at 1 ton yet.
No,
I
me
think I,
neither.
oh yeah, I think I got through to like 465
I haven't updated
kilos or
my
something like
profile
that.
fully, but yeah,
Yeah.
same, couple hundred.
So I'll share the link on the website, and on my next in my next e-newsletter. So just subscribe, and I'll make sure all that information is there. Now I'm noting that we are about to run out of time, and I did want to fit in a couple of the questions from my beauty rapid fire. So are you open to that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what's the best beauty advice that you've been given?
Um, Wear sunscreen.
Yes.
Drink lots of water. So my mom has amazing skin. And partly it could just be genetics, but I always ask her like, how did you not wear makeup your whole life and your skin's still amazing? And yeah, she's like, I always drink water and like a lot of water. Like you think like 2 liters a day is that's what you're aiming for, but make it 3 and it can actually make a huge difference if you're not dehydrated. So
Yeah, that is great advice. I need to drink more water. I'm terrible
yeah.
with that. I really am. What is the one skincare product you can't live without?
Um, Probably like a really rich moisturizer
Yeah.
because my skin gets really dry in winter. So I used to get eczema when I was a baby, and I'm actually getting some now. So on my hand, just from like hand sanitizing all the time. So yeah, just like a super thick hydrating moisturizer, I'd say.
Yes, good one. You need some of my Hand-Aid. Was that the
Yes,
same? Was that what I gave? Was that what I gave you?
cool enough.
I don't
Yeah, yeah.
remember.
I
I
got the
need to.
sample, and
I need to
oh, it
get you more of
smells
that.
so lovely. Yeah. So I haven't got
And
around to
pawpaw
but I
ointment.
promise buying one. Pardon?
I use pawpaw ointment. So I've got a little patch on my eye now. When I get stressed and
Mhm.
when I don't sleep enough, I get like this little patch of eczema on my eyelid, and I just use pawpaw ointment on it, and
Great
it
tip.
goes away. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's really it's amazing. Okay, last one. What piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Um, well, I think I'm still pretty young, but
You are.
I think always stay true to yourself and your values. Because especially in this day and age, and I am guilty of doing this too. I feel like we all like compare ourselves to everyone, um, and try to change who we are or try to conform. But yeah, I think if you just live your life sticking to your core values, then that can make a huge difference. So that would be my advice to my younger self.
Great advice. It's very
Yeah.
good advice. Being authentic. It really just takes all the weight off if you are. If you're just yourself,
Yeah.
it's
Just
just,
carefree and like, this is
yeah,
me. You like it or
yeah,
you don't.
exactly. Exactly. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I mean, I'm just astounded by what you're doing, and I can't wait to see your journey and
Yes, please
how it
follow
all
me.
goes. Yes, so let us know the website again.
Yeah, so it's clearconnections.com.au. And yeah, just have a look around. We've got like an our team section, so you can find out a bit more about us. We've got a, kind of like a blog, what you were referring to on your website, like an environmentally themed blog going on, so you can actually access information, and a tiny bit about what we're doing, more around what the problem is and how we are intending to solve it, but not too much information because, as I said, we haven't yet actually developed the product. And obviously, like, we have to probity and copyright it and all of that later. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a work in progress. And yeah, thanks so much for inviting me, Nat. It means a lot that I got to chat to you
Oh,
tonight.
yay.
I'm glad we
And
made a
yes, stay tuned. Sky's the limit for us. Yes, it is, Jaden. I can't
yes,
wait. And he's
Jada.
and he's popped the domain there too.
So
I'll
passionate.
I'll link across. I've got a bit of a backlog with all my lives going up live on the blog, but you will be
Yeah,
up
so busy.
soon, and I'll make sure that I have the link across to your website as well. And
Thank
yeah, keep us up to date, and let's check in a little while and chat
you.
again and come
Yeah,
up with some new ideas.
amazing. Thanks so
Thank you so much. Have a great night,
much.
everyone. See ya. Bye.